belongings and, most importantly, children inside the train at all times. Please no eating, drinking, or smoking of any kind while on board this train. And please remain seated at all times while the train is in motion. Now, with all that said, on the count of three, I need to hear a big all aboard for everybody. Let our engineer Rick know that we're all ready to go. So, on the count of three, 1, 2, 3.
All aboard!
Very good, all aboard.
Listen to that John Deere, that little John Deere 5.5 horsepower.
On the left-hand side of the train, we have the St. Joseph Metals Company mine train. This narrow gauge locomotive was used to carry lead ore deep underground in the lead mines of Bonterra, Missouri. Up here on the right-hand side of the train, we'll be passing by the General Motors Air Train. Built in 1955 as an experimental train to the future. Only 2 air trains were built as they were touring across the country in the hopes of making a good impression on the American railroads. While an impression was made, it was not a good one, as the air train was plagued with mechanical issues. Eventually, the air train would be sold off to the Rock Island Railroad, where it would continue to operate in commuter service outside Chicago. However, its mechanical issues would continue to plague it, so both air trains would be retired by 1966. On the right-hand side of the train, we have Missouri Pacific Rail Bus 604. Rail buses were popular in the 1930s and 40s, as they were significantly cheaper to operate on short passenger runs than a big steam locomotive. Pulling our little train today is locomotive number 340. 340 is a 1/3 scale replica of a steam engine that was built in 1863. That engine operated on the Central Pacific Railroad at Sacramento, California. The locomotive was named after the Vice President of the Central Pacific, Mr. C.P. Huntington. Today, our engine also bears the name C.P. Huntington in honor of that very locomotive. However, despite this engine's looks, it is not powered by steam. It is powered by a 4-cylinder gasoline engine. Number 340 is built in 2005 by the Chance Rice Manufacturing Company of Wichita, Kansas. Coming up ahead, we are about to cross over our turntable bridge. The turntable is a device used by railroads to turn around locomotives to add rolling stock in for in, or to move them to different tracks with the use of a switch. This turntable was built in 1923 and was used right here in St. Louis by the Frisco Railway at their Lindenwood Rail Yard. They're located just off of Interstate 44. On the right-hand side of the train, we have our T-33 trainer jet. This aircraft was used by the United States Air Force. Its primary purpose was to help pilots transition from the propeller-driven aircraft of World War II to the jet-propelled aircraft of the Cold War. This is a very early example of jet aviation here in the United States, being built in 1948. Once you disembark our train today, don't forget to check out the rest of what the Museum of Transportation has to offer. Once you head up the zigzag path to get to the top of the hill, first building you'll see is the Lindbergh Auto Building, home to many different types of classic and historic cars, including the Bobby Darin Dream car, Chrysler Touring car, and an entire room dedicated to the history of St. Louis auto manufacturing. Once you finish in there, feel free to go through the various rail yards and rail pavilions, home to over 90 different types of steam, diesel, and electric locomotives, and over 100 pieces of railroad rolling stock, including passenger cars, dining cars, sleeper cars, and almost every different type of railroad freight car you can think of. On the right-hand side of the train, we have our F-18 Super Hornet. This aircraft was used by the United States Navy. It was the very first F-18 Super Hornet ever built. Built right here in St. Louis by McDonnell Douglas Corporation in 1995. Today, McDonnell Douglas is owned by the Boeing Company and still operates a manufacturing facility out of St. Louis. Right now, this aircraft is currently on long-term loan from the Naval Aviation Museum of Pensacola, Florida. the right-hand side of the train, we have Wabash Caboose 2847. The 2847 is an all-steel streamlined caboose built in 1952 and used in regular service on the Wabash Railroad. When this caboose was retired from railroad service, it spent many years in a residential backyard in St. Louis County before it was donated to the Museum of Transportation in 2013. We are now on our final approach back to the station. When the train comes to a stop at the station, please remain seated till you hear the engineer blow the whistle one last final time. Once you hear that whistle, that means the brakes have been set and it is safe to exit the train. Once you do exit the train, please exit the platform towards the rear, following the exit arrow sign. We thank everybody for riding with us this afternoon, and we all hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day here at the National Museum of Transportation here in St. Louis, Missouri. And wait for it. Wait for it. Almost there. Wait for it. Wait for it. Not yet. And it is now safe to exit the train.